Hello, you guys. Welcome to the very first episode of What's Up With You. In this episode, or in this series, I should say, what we're going to do is I'm going to be talking about games I've been playing recently, and also a talk about what I've been watching lately, anime-wise or movie-wise or TV show-wise, like what's been going on with me. I'm going to start with the very obvious first thing, which is the studio. I've been remaking the entire studio. I've had the old look in so many of my previous videos, and I've had that look for years and years and years, and it was about time I made some changes, and this is more kind of representative of what I wanted it to be. It's not done completely. I'm still missing some lights behind me and maybe some sound paneling for the audio, and kind of revise the lighting a little bit, but it's a pretty good representation of what I wanted it to be. So behind me you have my gaming collection. It's not complete. There's a lot of stuff that's like still in boxes, but it's a big chunk of what I have. I have all the PlayStation consoles above me. There's like the PS5 right there, and yeah, TV, so I can turn around and play games. So keep an eye behind me in the videos. You might notice things are new. Other than that, what I've been playing lately, I've been playing a bunch of different games, actually. So I went on vacation. I had a trip to Ile de la Madeleine. It's a group of islands that are close to New Brunswick in Canada, if you know what that is. As I went there, I just received this game, and so I started playing it, and I'm loving it. So this is a re-release. This is Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus. So this is a new re-release of Tokyo Xanadu. They actually released EX Plus, I think, on PS4 back in the day, I think in 2017, and it was fine. It was all right. But what they did with this one, which is why it's so interesting and why I wanted to have it on the Switch, is because they redid the entire localization. So the entire localization is more faithful to the original, sounds better, apparently. I didn't play the old versions. And why EX Plus is because EX Plus is actually a re-release already. So basically they had Tokyo Xanadu, then they re-released it and they called it EX Plus, and it included new content, and then they re-released EX Plus again, but this time on the Switch with the better localization. If you don't know what Tokyo Xanadu is, it's a game by Falcom. Right now they have the Trail series and they have the E series. So they have kind of like those two major pillars, but they're running into a situation where it's not the best of ideas for a studio to only have two major franchises and nothing else. So what they're trying to do is they're kind of trying to branch out into more. And originally Tokyo Xanadu was supposed to be the start of this new third pillar where they would release games over time. Now, it didn't quite pan out that way. I don't think the reception for Tokyo Xanadu was that great. Not that the game is bad or anything, but I don't think it was as popular as the other two. It took them a while to do anything with it. I'm glad that they're kind of revisiting it now with this re-release on the Switch, and they have announced a sequel of sorts, or maybe a reboot of the franchise or something. This game plays kind of like an Ys game, so it's an action JRPG. It borrows elements a lot from games like Persona. So basically you have your day-to-day lives with a calendar system where you see which day you are and stuff, and you have your day-to-day lives. You go to school, there's a bunch of things, and then you always have like a period of free time where you can just walk around and visit different locations in the city. And at the end of the day, usually you go to work, and then maybe something bad happens in the story, and then you have to go into a dungeon. And all the dungeons are basically kind of like little labyrinths. So they're not as crazy as the P5 dungeons, where like you go and they're very, very elaborate, and they have like many floors and a bunch of different things. These ones are more bare bones. They are much shorter. Like you can probably complete one in, I think I saw one that was like completed in 2 minutes. And some of them, the longer ones, I think, are closer to like 10 minutes. And the reason why they're so quick is because you're meant to replay them. You're meant to kind of grind them over and over. And you're judged based on time, the way you killed enemies. Did you exploit any weakness? Did you do any combos? Did you take any damage? And they have little puzzles in them sometimes. You have to like hit a switch to open up a secret door. And you also have like a different group of characters with you. Like you can customize those characters as well. You can change their looks and gears and stuff, and you can equip them weapons. And in dungeons, it's like a rock paper scissors situation. So like certain characters are tied to certain elements, and certain elements are better against enemies that are of the opposite elements. What happens is whenever you go into a group of enemies, you kind of constantly swap your characters as you're fighting, because you want to make sure that you kill every enemy with the character that represents its weakness, because that way you get more points, and at the end of the dungeon you want to get an S rating so you can get more rewards. There are a bunch of different difficulty levels. I'm playing on normal, and I want to say like I'm 16 to 20 hours in. Now, if you know me and if you've been to the channel before, you probably know that I'm a bit nuts about JRPGs in general, or games in general, I should say. I talk to everybody, sometimes multiple times, because dialogue changes, especially in Falcom games. They have very, very strong character buildings, even for NPCs. So it's really, really cool to talk to NPCs and kind of see how the story evolves and stuff. And this game does a very good job at that, because you have an app on your smartphone that tracks every character you've interacted with, like even NPCs that are super minor, and you have like a tidbit of information about them, and then that evolves and you have more entries, and you discover more of their backstory basically over the chapters as you talk to them repeatedly, and it adds new information to their character. It's really well made. And to give you an example, like of something really, really simple, but it's something that you see a lot in Falcom games, is, for example, there's a character, like let's say he's in a store and he's begging his mother to get him a game, and then the following time you see that character, maybe his mother bought him the game and now he's got it, and he's talking about like how happy he is and how excited he is to play it, and then like maybe the next time you see him again, he's further into the game and he's enjoying himself, and you can see the kind of that side character, very minor NPC story evolve over time, which is super, super cool. Unfortunately, there's no English voice actors, it's only Japanese, which is fine with me, but I know some people kind of prefer having the English VA. I'm only in chapter 3, and I think there's like 8 chapters plus an epilogue, and in between chapters you also get side stories. So every time you finish a chapter, instead of going to the next chapter, you're kind of forced into one of those side story mini chapters that oftentimes include a dungeon to do and kind of develop the stories of the characters even more. The only complaint I have so far is you have to grind a lot. In this game, they're so stingy with money. You almost have zero money almost all of the time. So the only way to kind of have money is to run the dungeons over and over again, at which point you have enough money to buy all the gear. If you don't take the time to grind, then you're probably going to run out of money fairly quickly. And then if you don't have any money, then you cannot buy all the stuff. And it's not just gear. Sometimes there's like stuff to decorate your bedroom that you can buy at the shop. And there's even like gacha machines in game for accessories. You don't have to do them or anything, but like if you want to partake in that and get like all the accessories in the game, and I think there's a character that kind of wants you to collect all of them and gives you a reward maybe at the end, you have to kind of do the gacha machine thing. And the gacha machine is very expensive. It's like 100 yen, which is super small, but it took me, I want to say like I probably spent 50,000 yen before I got the very last gacha, and that was for the first series, and there's going to be multiple series. Stuff gets expensive after a while, and you do have to grind. So keep that in mind if you are interested in grabbing this game for yourself. You're probably gonna have to grind a little bit. Super, super fun game. Cool character designs. Very, very loving this so far. The other game I've been playing, Kingdom Hearts, and specifically Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix. Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games ever. I think I've played the very first game 3 or 4 times, and every time I revisit it, I fall in love with it all over again. It's so cool. I'm holding the PS4 version. I actually own the game multiple times. I think I have it like on every console it ever released, but I'm playing right now on Steam. So I'm playing the Steam version, which has slightly, I think, better graphics maybe than this one, because I can crank my computer a lot higher than the PS4. It's still Kingdom Hearts. It's still so good. If you don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. You know, I could go on and on for hours. It's basically a mix between Final Fantasy and Disney, but it's its own original story. But the first game, really cool, aged very gracefully, still plays fantastically. The action combat is still just as fun as it was before. If you like Final Fantasy characters, or if you like Disney characters, you probably will enjoy Kingdom Hearts. And the very last game I've been playing, and I'm almost done with it, is Eternights. I've bought it very recently. If you guys watched my gaming pickups video, I decided to kind of plop it in and play it because I was told it was very short, and it is. It's really cool. It's more of a budget title. It's definitely not AAA. It is not technically made in Japan. It is a Korean game, and it's set in Korea. There is Japanese voiceovers if you want to. There are Korean voiceovers, which I haven't tried. I haven't tried much of the voiceovers. The only one I've picked is English because it's fantastic. The English voice acting in this game is really, really good. It's very funny.
Whoa, wait. Are there people that aren't real? Am I real?
What about me? Everybody, we're all real.
Are we, though?
It is extremely extremely thirsty. I'm gonna put it that way. It's very, very thirsty.
What did you mean when you implied he wasn't real? Did you visit any other dreams too?
I'd like to know that as well. I wasn't dreaming about you.
Me too. The only thing I dream about is power.
It is action combat. So if you guys like an action combat game, you probably would find you filled with this. You only control one character, but you do have some friends with you that can provide you with buffs and various bonuses in battle, or even heal you. It flirts with the Persona stuff in terms of you have to create like a relationship with your friends.
But I don't know. It's just that... Never mind. What do you mean?
So as you meet more characters and as they join you on your journey, you have to spend time with them whenever you're not doing the main story stuff. And as you spend time with them, you increase your relationship level. And as you increase your relationship level, you get points to spend on their own skill tree, which then in turn buffs your main character or make them stronger in helping you in dungeons. It is the kind of game where you have a calendar and you know for a fact that you have to do the dungeon by X date. And so you have to make sure that whatever you do, the dungeon needs to be completed at that exact time. So what I usually do is I do the dungeon right away. So whenever I unlock a new dungeon, I just beeline it, I do it right away. And then I spend the rest of the days just kind of hanging out with my friends, doing side quests and watching all the cutscenes and stuff. And it's pretty hilarious. And it tackles some pretty strong subject matters also. Like it gets pretty dark.
They were as supportive as ever, because of course they would be. I'm going to miss them. If I run, they run.
So yeah, so the story of Eternights, if you don't know what it is, there's a catastrophe that happens that basically transforms most people into monsters. The entire game has a set deadline and you're doing all the chapters and hoping to do whatever needs to be done in the story before the end point, because at that point, world is basically gone. And so you traverse the ruins of Seoul and I think various cities in Korea by train, and you have to stop at various points to do some dungeons and quests and stuff, and you have to survive. And basically it's you, a bunch of friends, and new friends that you meet along the way versus most of the populace turned into monsters. The graphics are really cool. It has this kind of haze, this purple haze or like red haze, like all over the place. It's very stylized. It's really well done. There's not a whole lot of grinding. I didn't need to grind anything. Like it's fairly straightforward. I did need to lower the difficulty though. That's one of my main gripes with this game is, and I usually am fine with difficulty, but this one, even on normal, was too hard. It is too punishing if you miss a dodge and it's really difficult, especially early game, to heal yourself. So if you can't heal yourself anymore and you die, the game kind of reloads you to the nearest checkpoints. Thankfully, there's a lot of like hidden checkpoints that you don't even see. It's very forgiving in the way that they dole those out. So you're able to respawn fairly often and very close to where you died. However, I found it even then to be very annoying to have to redo some fights over and over again because I was too bad at the combat or I kept missing. So what I did is I lowered the difficulty to easy, which still has its share of difficulties, but at the very least it's manageable and it makes the experience more fun for me specifically. I'm enjoying it more because then I can focus on the story and kind of not have to worry about being perfect in the combat situations. But yeah, it's a super fun game. It was very cheap on Amazon. I think I mentioned it in my gaming pickups. I think this cost me like 12 or 15 bucks Canadian for a physical version of the game. So yeah, it's very cheap. I recommend you guys pick it up. I think another one of my gripes that I probably should mention, and I did mention at the beginning, it is a very budget title. It's not like bad or anything. Like the animations are good and the cutscenes are really well done, but it lacks this kind of tiny bit of polish that makes it pop more. Every time you see a menu, they all look kind of generic and very cheap. And also in the menus, most of the time there's no sound. So whenever you're navigating in the section or another section, there's no kind of audio feedback to what you're doing. It's hard to explain at first. Like, you probably would think that it shouldn't be a big deal. It kind of takes you out of it a little bit. And the more you play a game that doesn't have that versus a game that does, the more you realize that it's missing. And with me playing Kingdom Hearts and Tokyo Xanadu as well at the same time, I'm noticing it a lot. So if you do pick the game out, just keep that in mind. It is very cheap, but it's also a budget title. So obviously that's why it is so cheap, but it's definitely worth playing though. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I would be sad if I didn't own it, so I'm glad I do. Now, as to what I've been watching lately, I've actually been rewatching or getting back into One Piece. I'm a fairly new fan to One Piece. I started, I think, last year, and I took a break. So this is a statue from One Piece Odyssey, which is a game that I own that I've never finished because I don't want to get spoiled for the anime, because the game kind of retraces stuff that happens in the anime. So I want to watch the anime first and then play the game. But I did get the collectors because I wanted the Luffy statue, so I'm glad I did. But yeah, I'm a very, very new fan to One Piece. When I stopped, I had watched the Alabasta arc, and I stopped there. I stopped in the end of that arc, and or saga, I should say. And now I'm in the Sky Island saga, and I'm currently on the Jaya arc, which is just before they go to Skypiea. I'm loving it still. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Characters are still hilarious, and I can't wait to watch more. If you guys are also fans of One Piece, let me know. Obviously, no spoilers, please, in the comments, because I don't want to get spoiled. I'm having too much fun watching it. I'm also enjoying the live action version that Netflix made. So I'm going to stop it here, guys. Now what I want to do is I want to hear from you. What's up with you guys? What's up with you? What have you been playing lately? What have you been watching, anime-wise or TV show-wise or movie-wise? What's new in your life? So leave a comment down below, and I'll answer for sure. If you are enjoying the channel, please consider subscribing to it. It helps me a lot. And if you enjoyed this video specifically, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.